Man, we were just talking about how like the variety of guests we've had.
Yeah.
I mean, we fucking like just on that bottom row, we go from my 11-year-old niece to a boy that's a world traveling author to a death metal artist to Alex Blue is a chef to a pro bodybuilder to we did a fundraiser for this family to this chick in Cookeville that owns cancer survivor, owns her own business, and to like a Green Beret. Active duty Green Beret that flew in Saturday. He flew in this past Saturday, flew in at 7 a.m., rented a car, drove here, recorded, hung out a bit, and then flew back to fucking North Carolina. And then my man Gage makes hats.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's what podcasts are for, man.
Yeah.
Everyone has a sweet story, right?
That's what this one's all about, too, is just collecting people's stories, man. And there's so much value in that shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I feel like you got a good story.
I have a pretty wild story.
Dude, I'm ready to hear it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird, I don't know. People are like, that's wild. I'm like, I don't know if it's wild. It's mine. It's fucking weird, you know?
Hey, I'm all about it, dude. Oh, well, hopefully you're ready to open up.
Yeah.
And just fucking put it out there. That's what we do here.
Yeah,
so.
dude. I'm all about it.
We're ready whenever.
All right. Always got to get loosened up.
Loosen up, baby.
A little stretchy stretch.
Are you cold or anything?
I'm good.
I keep it chilly in here.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, it's like hot as fuck out there.
It's terrible outside.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be close to that, so we got to go like the exact opposite. So I'm just gonna have like fucking snow coats for everybody.
Maybe we just have hearing issues, Joe. Because he told me to turn him down too.
I do have it. So I did get a hearing test done at the VA recently, and like my right ear, like your hearing's dropped a lot.
I've always had
Like
hearing issues, so it may be us.
And so like maybe I can tack that onto my disability and be like,
Yeah,
yo,
what's
like,
what's that earplug company, like 3M or something like that? Like, hey, were you using these earplugs during 2004 to 2008?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
that shit.
I saw that actually. I could probably qualify for that shit.
Probably could, man.
Because I worked on jets, and that's the earplugs that we used.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other guests that didn't ask us to turn it down are probably just sitting over there like, yeah, it's good.
It's good. Dude, I like it. I like the loudness. It tunes everything else out because I get distracted easy.
Okay.
So if I hear some shit going on out there, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Fucking ADHD, baby.
Hang on. Shut the fuck up.
Shut your fucking mouth. I just like flipping shit on people just walking in the hallway. Like, God damn.
Like, so tell us about your. God damn it!
All right, dude. Y'all ready to roll?
I'm ready, man. Yeah.
All right. I feel like I had to burp. Sorry, I felt like the bubble. I felt the bubble. Okay.
All right.
If it comes out, it comes out. What is up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit podcast. As always, we have my man Logan Hyder of Cinema 83 in the house, doing everything, co-hosting, producing, crushing it. And we also, y'all can't see him. He's off camera. You can see him. And we got my man Luke Leschner in the house as well. You know,
wearing that pink shirt.
In the pink, looking in the salmon. It's salmon.
Salmon.
It's salmon.
I dig
in
it.
the salmon. In the salmon, interning very hard. Really just sitting
he's
in on the
interning
podcast.
hard as shit, dude. He is interning hard as shit.
No, but Luke came in clutch. Oh, I'll tell you about that. Luke actually came in clutch
Super clutch.
with when we did the disability fund. We're still doing the fundraiser, but when we had my boy JT in, his son Gardner has Wolf-Hirschhorn syndrome, which is like a crazy disability. Like he's the only kid in Tennessee with it, and so we're still raising money for that. And like he was, he was listening to music down there, but he makes a lot of noise, is kicking and stuff. And so Luke was like, hey, at the 30-minute break, he took him out there and just hung out with him for like another hour. So
there you go.
It was cool. Luke stepping it up. Showing what he's made of.
Hell yeah.
But, we must introduce the guests.
Hey.
My man, Gage Speas.
Yep.
Speas? Is that how we say it?
Speas, yeah.
Gage Speas.
That's me. Oh, whoa, look at that.
Yeah.
Dang.
The crowd is going nuts.
Yeah.
And then Joe's, the audience knows by now, but it's his favorite one.
I like that.
He loves
That's what I hear every day I wake up.
Yeah, me too.
That's what goes off in my head.
Yeah, me too.
You know? And
Yeah.
I go drink my warm lemon water.
Yeah. Oh, you do warm lemon water?
Every morning.
My wife does
33 ounces.
Okay, my wife's into that.
Why?
Get that gut set, baby.
Okay.
Helps the gut up and
Yeah.
all the stuff.
Warm specifically?
Oh, yeah. You got to warm it up.
Interesting.
Wow.
Get your organs all ready to roll for the day.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good digestion boost. And Gage is also the owner of Three Horses Hat Co.
Three Horses Hat Co.
He makes hat. You should have brought a hat to like kind of show everybody.
Dude, I'm like the worst
Dang,
at promoting
what?
my
You could have
own.
like showed your hat.
I know. I'm like the
damn, I got
worst
one
at
on right
promoting my company. Like I'm like people when I meet people, they're like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I work for a hat company."
And that's it.
And they're like, "Okay," like I'm like, "Yeah, like cowboy hats and like fedoras," and then I'll be there and I'll leave and or whatever, and they'll come into the stores and they're like, "Oh yeah, you do work here," and they're like, "He owns it." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you, I do own the hat company."
Very humble guy.
I try to be, man, but I think there's a line, right, where it's like you should be proud of what you've done.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So.
I mean, he's probably. You're being humble now, but he's probably walking on the streets in Nashville. He's like, I made that fucking hat. I made that hat. That's my hat I made. Guys are like, Jesus, should I take it off? Like, dude,
Give it back.
It's super aggressive. Hey, man, maybe. But that being said, let's get into things a little bit.
Yeah.
Now we know who you are.
Yeah.
Do the hats, but give us a brief explanation of what it is you do.
Yeah, so what I do is I take a hat body, right? It's like a big dome with a brim. I steam it. I put it over a wooden block that's like conducive to your head size. I sand the whole thing down. I cut it down. I shape it by hand. I put the sweatband in. I tack all the trim on. Everything's done by hand.
Nice.
So yeah, I'd use a 100% beaver felt. So it's the highest quality hat that you can get.
Nice.
So
I didn't even know that was a thing, like using beaver
I
felt.
didn't either.
Yeah. I mean, you see like a lot of chicks like a real like wavy big brimmed hat, right? It's probably a wool hat. It's like super cheap, and you don't want to wear that.
So next time I go to Arrington Vineyards, I'll be like, I bet that's wool. Fucking
Yeah.
This is beaver
This girl
felt.
That's right. That's
She don't
right.
even know what she's
Yeah.
talking
Give me
about.
that bottle of wine.
Yeah. Dump it on her hat. Like your hat sucks, bitch.
Stupid wool. Jesus, dude. Chicks are going to be freaking out at Arrington Vineyards.
Fuck.
Yeah,
What
these
the fuck?
psychos. But
This dude's wearing a giant cowboy hat, kicking people's wine out of his hands.
I'm just pissed about the quality officer.
Just keep saying something about wool hats. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know.
Quality sucks.
Man arrested at Arrington for kicking bottles of wine out of people's hand wearing cowboy hat. Wasn't even drunk.
Screaming about beavers.
He didn't even started drinking yet. He's just losing his shit. I mean, maybe. Could happen.
Could happen.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's pretty awesome, man. And,
Thanks, man.
So you're an artist.
Yeah, I've like had to come to terms of like, yes, I'm an artist. You know, I think I take inspiration from a lot of different stuff. You know,
Sweet. Well, we do want to dive into what led you into that.
yeah.
But first, let's bring it back, man.
Okay.
We're going back in the journey. Okay.
Okay.
So we want the guests to get to know who Gage is.
Okay.
And like, yeah, you make hats, you got a family, this and that, but
Yeah.
there's more to it.
Okay.
So take it back as far as you want to go in your childhood or whatever, and just bring us along this journey, man.
Okay.
As
Yeah.
to where you're at today.
For sure, man. Yeah. I think my family has a pretty rad story, right? My dad was a logger and like deep sea fisherman up in Pacific Northwest.
That's fucking cool.
It was pretty sick, yeah. And then I was born in Oregon, moved to New Mexico when I was like a year old. My dad had got a job out in the base out there from his cousin, and he was like, "Hey, man, you're gonna die logging. Like, you should, if you want to live a little bit, there's a safer job, that you can grow in." So my dad is I don't know, he's like a laser diagnostics technician.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have no
Quite the
idea.
change.
Yeah, but he started off like the lowest level, right?
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in a double wide trailer. I lived in that trailer for my entire life.
Up in the mountains.
Yeah, at the base of a mountain in New Mexico. Yeah, right out like 30 miles east of Albuquerque.
So when did y'all move from Oregon when you were?
I was one.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Don't remember it much.
No,
then.
not at all.
Have you been back?
Oh yeah. We'd go back probably every summer, right? Because when my grandmother was alive, my grandfather, they still lived out there.
Okay.
So we would just cruise back every summer, every other summer, something like that.
I've been through there. I did a Pacific Northwest road trip a few years ago.
I'm sure it was awesome.
Like Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, Washington, Oregon, all that.
Yeah.
And the only stop I got to make in Oregon, because it was at the tail end of the trip, was Crater Lake. That was pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oregon's beautiful.
It's awesome, dude.
I don't know. I drove by the city, drove through Portland. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I want to stop.
No,
anywhere
keep
over
going.
here.
Yeah, that's
Get outside Portland a little bit.
I'm trying to avoid this whole section of Oregon.
Yeah.
But,
Well, you could go to Portland. You could go to the section of Portland that's like its own thing now, right? There's like its own town or city, or they did that. For
Is that still open, Chaz?
I was gonna say there was some. It may
Is
not
that
be
what it's called, Chaz?
It was
Remember
something
that?
like that.
Yeah,
it was
Chaz.
something like that.
Yeah.
And the idea was that they were gonna have like no laws. They were gonna like all this stuff. And the first thing that they did was like form like city councils and mayors, and like it's like so ironic because it's like because you have to do that to organize people.
Yeah, that's because a woman was raped there like a week in, and people were being murdered in that little thing. And they're like, no, it's not supposed to happen. It's
Sounds like a very wholesome community.
Well, I mean, it sounded like a portal to hell. Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds terrible. Like, anyways, I don't know what y'all are thinking out there.
yeah, dude.
But that was a real thing for real. They took there was like a whole section of the city that was like its own thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So, grew up in New
Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah, dude, grew up in New Mexico. I rode bulls in high school, and so that's like what got me into like learning how to shape hats.
No shit.
Yeah, I did for like 2 years, 2.5 years.
Nice. Why'd you retire?
Oh, dude, I got the shit kicked out of me.
Yeah, I mean,
so
Like
bad,
literally.
dude. Yeah. I had one really bad wreck, right? So we call it a wreck. That's when you just get your freaking clock clean, dude. I went completely underneath this bull, just danced on me, kicked the shit out of me.
Golly.
I probably had a concussion. I know I fractured some ribs, and it was brutal.
I bet that shit was terrifying too. When you're up under that.
Oh,
son of a
dude,
bitch.
yeah. My dad has a video of it. It was out on the an Indian res called Cañoncito in New Mexico. So we used to ride out there, and never been on these bulls. And this dude's like, "Oh yeah, man, it's a duck. It's just gonna jump kick. It won't turn back or anything." Like, okay, great. Load it on through. Let's do it. And then, it kicked the shit out of me. So, and I got on every weekend for like 4 months after that. I'd still get on, but when the bull would make that drop, it sucks you back, right? So you kind of
Gosh,
back.
dude. With a rib injury?
Yeah, so I'd get off and I'd be like,
Like takes air out of you.
yeah, I
immediately.
couldn't breathe, and I would ride for like 4 seconds, just jump off, just like jump off. I'm like, how'd it go? And people are like, dude, you didn't cover. I'm like, really? Because I swear to God, it felt like I was on there for like 8 seconds. I felt like I covered. And they're like, no, man. So I knew my mental game was lost, right? I was like, oh, I had a bull riding coach who said that bull riding is 90% mental and 10% physical. Because it's like, it's all in your brain, right? Like,
yeah.
It's just like.
So at that
all
point, you
mental.
were like ready to jump off too early?
Oh, yeah.
Because of the injuries?
Yeah, and I was just scared. I was so.
How
You're
did you-
on a 1,500-pound bull with a rope around its balls.
yeah,
like,
I can
see where-
it's just not.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's a wild thing. How did you even get into that?
My old traveling partner is a dude named Hot Man, right? This guy named Vince. He's still like the most wild dude I've ever met in my life. We were sitting in class one day, and he's like, "Hey, man, we're gonna start bull riding." I was like, "You guys have fun." It's like, "No, do it with us. Just do it once, so before you die, you can say that I rode a bull." And I was like, "Okay, sounds good. Let's do it." And I was into skate. I grew up skateboarding and like going to hardcore shows and metal shows, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
throw bull riding in the mix. This is gonna be sick.
Yeah, I mean, I'd honestly, if I had the opportunity, I'd throw it on there. I mean, I'd probably get jacked up, but I mean, just to be like, I rode a bull once.
Well, I was really tall for a bull rider.
How old were you at the time?
I think I started when I did it from like 16 to 18.
Okay.
Around there. Yeah. Because I could drive at that point. So I'd drive all over the state of New Mexico every weekend. Just
So you enjoyed it
Alright.
that much when you tried it that you just got into it, like doing it
yeah,
as a sport?
I covered the first bull I ever got on. I went a full 8 seconds the first time I ever got on a bull.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then from there I was like, oh yeah, dude, we got this. This is easy.
I'm a bull riding man. This is what I
Bull
was built
riding
for.
son of a bitch. Dude, I'm a cowboy now.
That's crazy.
But that's what got me into hats because I would, shape hats over tea kettles, in my buddy's kitchen and stuff like that.
So you were making some hats early on.
I wasn't making. I'd shape them though, right?
Oh, okay.
Like I'd have a cowboy hat, right? And we just shape the felt, whatever, throw it on.
Interesting.
Go to the 4-H dance.
So this started early.
Yeah,
It's not something
Is it-
you just fell into like
yeah.
later in life.
no.
But it's funny because like you think about that now, and it's like at the time you were so focused on bull riding, you didn't even know that like what you were doing, just messing around with the hats, was like going to be.
Oh, bro, I thought I was gonna be a pro bull rider.
Yeah.
It's like it takes my bull riding coach. Hey man, 8 seconds to be a
man.
millionaire. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, dude.
You got any
man.
sponsors lined up yet?
Yeah, my fucking dad. That's who sponsored me. Best sponsor in the world.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, but I knew I was kind of throwing his money away towards the end, right? Because I was just jumping off. you know? So you'd go, I wasn't even making day money back. And day money is like, say you go pay $50, $150, $300 for a bull riding and you don't cover.
So you'll spend $300 just to ride a bull once?
Yeah, so explain that process to us real quick.
Yeah, so you'd get to the bull riding, like wherever it is, the buck out, and you enter, and like, all right, man, here's your number, right? Whatever. It's $100, $150. It's like, great. So it goes like in a big like jackpot or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you don't cover, then you don't make your money back, right? So but if you do cover, even if it's a bad ride, like I went 8 seconds, like cool, man, you get day money. So it's like you get your money back. You don't make anything. You don't lose anything, you know. But the dudes who didn't cover, which is a lot of folks, right? Like their money's gone,
forking money out,
and it goes straight to the dude who
organized
won. No, the dude who won. You know.
So is it
all goes all
and
the,
all
the winner.
And the cattle contractor too, right?
Yeah.
Like he's gonna get
his bull. He better get his cut.
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is the winner. I'm assuming is just who stays on the longest.
Well, no, not the longest, 8 seconds.
So
right?
everybody that hits 8 seconds wins, and that's.
And then who has the best ride though, right? Who spurs the most? How rank is the bull? You know, like things like that. All kinds of stuff they vote on.
Gotcha.
You know,
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I rode a bull once. It was at Coyote Uglies in Panama City.
There you
know
go.
what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was mechanical, by
Hell
the way.
yeah.
You know, I'll never forget that time, though, because this girl was trying to hit on me. I just wasn't feeling it, and I'm pretty sure she was a stripper, and she jumped on the bull. I had no experience with this. Like, I have no business being on this fucking thing. I'm hammered.
Yeah.
And she jumps on facing me.
All right. She
Smart,
loved you,
right?
She loved you.
Oh, yeah, no, I headbutted this shit out of her. She just went flying. Dude, she had a bloody nose. I was like, hey, guys, like, I was made sure nobody thought, I was being intentional about it.
It was the bull.
I loved her. I loved her. I would never hurt her. I love her.
She was the one, I swear.
I'm like, why would she do that? I'll never forget that, man. I don't know what happened to her, but yeah. So that's my bull riding experience.
I saw this this great video of this baseball player, right? This catcher walks with these two umpires. He's like, hey, you guys know I'm a good man. They're like, yeah, we know that. He's like, I give my money to charity. And they're like, uh-huh. He goes, except for when she's not there, I give it to Tiffany. And they're like, oh!
That's pretty funny.
I was dying. I was like, that's so good. I love that.
That's pretty hilarious.
That, man. Yeah.
So you stopped bull riding. So after this happened, and then what'd you do from there? And you said you were in high school. So what was like the school situation? You said you were living in New Mexico still. I'm guessing.
Yeah. So I was just in high school. My parents got divorced the summer before my senior year, and that was like the summer before I quit like bull riding. But I'd always gone to hardcore shows, right? Metal shows, these types of things.
Same.
And I worked for a booking agent dude out there and like a promoter, so I'd help like promote the show, and I was always in bands as I got older and things like that. And then one of my favorite bands came to town. Well, actually, that's wrong. I should say this. In my senior year for spring break, I flew to Kentucky to try out for this band called Oh the Blood. They're like this like Christian band, right? On this label. And I was like, this is it. This is my shot. Like they're on a record label. I can do this. So I tried out to be the lead singer. And I made it. And my mom didn't live. She moved back to Oregon, and so it was just me and my dad. But my dad had like got a girlfriend. So pretty much my senior year, for the 5 months, I lived by myself. Like I'd go to town, meet my dad. He'd fill up my car for me. Like, hey man, here's $100 for lunch or whatever. I was like, all right, cool, see ya. So
was that tough to go through that at that time period? My parents are divorced, but I was like 3.5.
Yeah, it was terrible because it's like my realm, right? Like my reality had shattered.
Was it just kind of out of nowhere, or
yeah,
to you? Yeah,
yeah. I woke up one day and my mom was like driving. She drove away. She left. Like I watched her. I watched my mom like leave.
Fuck.
And she moved to Oregon. And then my dad had called me. I'd gone to town. I went to skateboarding that day in town. And it's like, all right, mom left. Like, what else am I going to do? I don't know. Guess I'll go skateboard in town with my friends, right? Like,
yeah.
So she didn't even have a conversation with you?
She did. She asked me if I wanted to come. And I was like, no, I don't want to come. I'm going to stay here. She took my little sister and left.
I bet that was rough too.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. And so she left. I went to town. My dad called me and he's like, hey, man, you talked to your mom? And I was like, nope, haven't seen her. Because I used to work on a horse ranch. So I had went out that morning, like at 6 o'clock, right, from 6 to noon, let's say, right, out like mending fences out in a horse ranch.
Yeah.
So I was always up early, and my dad would like wake up like 4:30 and leave for work like at 5. You know what I mean? To drive into town. So like right before I was leaving for work, you know, it was just a little summer job, right? Got paid like $200 a week, you know, it wasn't anything crazy. Feeding horses, mending fences, that kind of thing. Yeah, my dad called. I was like, nope, I haven't seen her. Like, I don't want to be the one to tell my dad, like, hey, mom left. That's fucked. You know,
dude,
that's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of
You
pressure.
know?
So when she left, it wasn't like they'd already talked and then she left. It was like she just left.
No, yeah, my mom just straight up just like boom, just out the door. Yeah, like grabbed her shit, left. And I came home that night. Yeah, my dad was just like, hey man, I think your mom left. Like, I don't think she didn't come back this time. You know, I was like, all right, well, I'm here. You know, like I'm here with you, dude. You know, but you know, I mean, things, you know, whatever. He went through his thing. But my dad built this like back deck on our trailer, right? Put a nice roof on it, nice deck and everything. And I never seen my dad drink a beer before, ever, right? He'd drink wine, whatever, you know, drink whiskey. I'd never seen my dad drink a beer. And I remember coming home one day and my dad was like outside building this back deck, drinking a beer. And I was like, oh, he's changed. Like something's changing inside of him. And I remember being 17, 18 and recognizing that. Like, oh, he's different, dude. Like, and I felt like now as a 33-year-old man looking back on that, I feel like that was my dad's therapy process, right? To like do this thing, build something, create something new on something that was old and, you know, double wide trailer, right? I mean, it was, you know, whatever, right? But that was like a weird thing for me to see. And you know, and then he, you know, time goes on, he gets a girlfriend, she lives in a different town, you know, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Kind of like the odd man out.
Yeah.
Oh, completely. Yeah, because both my brothers are older, right? So they're already out of the house and married, doing their thing, you know? So I would just be like, all right, cool.
That's rough because you have to deal with that. Like, you have to deal with your reality shattering in that way. Like, but like he's also going through it. You know, like,
so you're kind of alone.
Yeah, you don't really.
Yeah,
you know, that's a terrible spot to be put in because it's like you need to be supported as well.
Yeah,
but the person that would support you, one of them's not even there, and the other one is like having to deal with.
Yeah, neither of them were there, right? Like that. Some at one point
he was there, but he wasn't there.
Well,
exactly.
And then he wasn't.
And then he wasn't.
Then he physically wasn't.
And then he physically wasn't there. You know what I mean? He'd come home on the weekends and like make dinner with me, and I'm like, all right, hey, what's up? You know, cool. So
it was y'all's relationship at like now, like you and your parents.
Oh, really good. Really good.
Both of them and everything?
Both of them.
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's taken a lot of therapy, right? I was going to therapy for a long time.
Good move. A lot of people like dumb down therapy, but it's important, man.
No, dude, it saved my life. I mean, I should be dead in a ditch, not trusting people.
Yeah.
You know, and now I probably trust people too much, right? You know, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? I'm like a puppy, like, what's going on? Are we friends? You know, I believe in you.
Hi.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, that's nothing wrong with that, man.
You know,
that's great.
But yeah, dude, I mean, it was the whole thing. So I fast forward, I meet this band, I fly out to Kentucky, try out, I make it. And then I was 18 my senior year. So I was like, well, I got nothing here. Like there's nothing in New Mexico for me. I had like 4 months to go for graduation. And I was like, fuck it. I signed myself out of school. I just dropped out. And then I flew to Kentucky. I did this 3-month-long tour with this band. And the dude who owned the van quit. And I was like, oh, fuck, what did I do? You know?
Damn. You're like, dude, we're going big time.
Dude, I know. I was like, man, I can't catch a break, you know? I was like, I just can't catch a break in life.
And what kind of genre? It was a hardcore? Or?
Yeah, like hardcore, like metal. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the thing.
It was Christian. You said it was a Christian
Yeah,
band
it's
then?
Christian band, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that narrows it down more because like the metal scene's hard to make it in anyways.
Yeah.
Like my boy that was on, I mean, he was in a band for like 11 years at one point, and now he's in Serpentian and stuff. I mean, he's just committed.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of people don't make it, man. I mean, you got to be dedicated to that art, especially even in metal too. Just, you know, the fact is that it's a Christian metal.
Oh yeah.
Which is even a smaller genre.
Yeah.
Super niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It was like wild. So that band broke up, and then I worked for a band called Oh Sleeper out of Texas, and they're like my favorite band in the world, right? And they came to Albuquerque, and I was like, hey man, like, like, do you guys need a singer if Mike ever quits? Like, I'd sing for you guys.
Just throwing it out there.
Because Micah was sick. He was sick that night. So I sang for them.
Oh, dope.
Because they weren't going to play. And I was like, no, I'll do it. I'll sing for you guys. I know every song ever. And they were like, okay, great. We're going to play 4. I'm like, let's do it, you know? Sang the set for them, which was like dream come true. And then I was like, hey, if you guys need like a merch guy or whatever, like I'm trying to get out of Albuquerque, like let me know. And dude, they called me in 2 weeks. They're like, hey, do you want to fly out next week and come do merch and drive for us? And I was like, 100%. I'll do anything you want. Yeah. And I worked for them for like 2 years. And then they got me in my band, which is called To Speak of Wolves, right? And we don't tour anymore, but I mean, I was in that band from 20 to 28.
Oh, nice. So recently, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we toured, we took like a 2-year hiatus at one point, but we were normally gone like 9 months out of the year. I mean, I was just
plugging away,
living in a van, married to 5 of the dudes.
Committed, man.
Committed, dude. Yeah. And then I had, I moved to town 10 years ago. And
you live in Murfreesboro now?
No, I live in Hendersonville. Yeah, but I moved to Nashville like 10 years ago, right? So I was out there and I wandered into this hat shop and the owner was like, I like your hat. I was like, do you want to give me a job? I tour all the time and I need something to do. Like, and if you're cool with me being gone for months on end and being here, like I will gladly work for you. Yeah, sure. So that's how I learned to make hats. I was an apprentice.
Nice.
Yeah, for a year and a half. It got kind of crazy. So I quit and then I did like a bunch of odd jobs and then my band had like kind of broken up at that point. Went back into the hat shop and I was like, hey, do you want to give me a job? I want my job back, please.
Remember that talk that we had before?
Yeah.
Can we do that again?
So I worked for another year and a half and then I was like, okay, I can't work here anymore. This is just getting too crazy. So I quit. And then I went home that day. My daughter was like 6 months old. I called my now wife. We were just dating then. And I was like, I just quit my job. What the fuck did I just do? And I'm like crying. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. She's like, start your GoFundMe. Start a GoFundMe for your hat company. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. That's weird. I don't ask people for money.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'll call my buddy. And I have a good friend of mine. His name is Lee Clemmer. He's really, really smart, very articulate human. And he's just the kind of dude you have in your life where it's like, he bought the house, right? He's married, had the kids, like has always been a serial entrepreneur. You know what I mean?
So he was like a good mentor.
Yeah. But like, this is one of my homies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, dude, I just quit my job. What the fuck am I going to do? He's like, oh yeah, you should start a GoFundMe for your hat company. I'm like, no, stop. Everyone stop saying that. And he was like, you just had a kid, right? Your daughter's like 6 months old. Well, yeah. He's like, that's cool, man. You have no more room for pride. So you should probably start a GoFundMe now. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's a reality check.
Yeah. I've never forgotten it.
This episode is brought to you by Relentless Pursuit. Check us out at relentlesspursuitlifestyle.com where we got all of our apparel, training, all the good stuff. Definitely check out the Patreon account. So we have the RP Patreon, which is an exclusive subscription-based platform where you can find us and get extra episodes. We got Saturday Cup of Joe with Joe featuring my donuts. We do a lot of Q&A. We're going to be bringing in patrons for as guests on those episodes and stuff there. And then we'll also be launching some exclusive apparel for you guys as well. So a lot happening with the Patreon. We're getting used to it as well, and we're getting it growing. And definitely check that out. It's an awesome community. And most importantly, check out the fundraiser we have going on for my man JT and his son Garner with Wolff-Hirschhorn syndrome. JT recently lost his wife to cancer earlier this year. Now he's the sole caretaker of his son. A lot on his plate, and they've got a long journey ahead. But we're going to be running that fundraiser here for at least a few more months, trying to raise as much as we can for them to help their life. So check that out. The GoFundMe link will be on the description of this podcast episode. So thank you, and I'm going to pass it on to you, my man.
Yeah, hey, so my company is called 3 Horses Hat Co. We're based in Nashville, Tennessee. Our website's 3horseshatco.com. Same thing with our Instagram, same handle. We make all handmade custom hats. We do one-off hats as well. We only make one of each hat. So if you got a custom, I'd never make that hat again. I'd never make any of the one-offs again. Sweet. Got some T-shirts and stuff like that. And our store is located at inside the Fairlane Hotel in downtown Nashville.
I knew Logan knew what he was doing. I was like, yeah, he's going to teach me the ropes, man. I'll get a little board, all the cameras. I was like, I got this fucking shit.
Yeah.
And then he was here a couple episodes, and I didn't pay attention to a single thing he was doing because I was talking. And I was like, dude, honestly, there's no way I'll be able to do this. You're on full time.
Yeah.
But he's like, not only that, because over the time, like he and I have become super close and built such a cool relationship.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think 10 years down the road when we're recording.
Yeah.
And like we've been boys and on this road together. We've had to struggle through it.
Yeah.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool. So
Yeah.
I'm glad for him.
That's awesome, man.
I don't tell him that enough.
I love you.
But I do. You know, one thing I noticed about you, man,
What's that?
What's that company from Yellowstone with the little, that everybody wears their hats and stuff now?
Oh, it has like that weird. I know what you're talking about.
It's funny. It's funny because you actually lived it.
Yeah.
You know, you were bull riding. You were working on a ranch, all that shit.
Yeah.
But you don't wear none of that stuff.
No.
And then you got this guy that's like decked out in it, and the most aggressive thing he's ever ridden is his lawnmower. You know, it's like, hell yeah, I'm in Yellowstone, baby. I don't know. It's just funny to me because I just find it being just a little bit crazy.
Well, I mean, I think it's funny because it's like I have cowboy boots. I wear them. I wear them all the time. You know what I mean? It's rad. It's just not my thing. You know?
Yeah, I have a black pair of cowboy boots, and I have spikes on one of like my left boot on all my few pair of boots.
Yeah,
and I have this black pair that I wear all the time just because I like the look of it. But
yeah,
I definitely don't come off as like a cowboy, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think some people just go too far with it, man. They're like, that looks cool on TV. I'm gonna deck out and I'm gonna look just like what's his face on that show.
Oh, dude, yeah, Rip. I'm gonna look like Rip
I'm
from
a
Yellowstone.
I want to be like Rip.
You know how many black cowboy hats I've made because of that TV show? I cannot. I love that show
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
coming
say,
out, dude. It's been awesome for me.
It's been good.
You know, yeah. I'm like, hey man, I'll throw in a pair of sunglasses for you too. You know, like what's
Thank you.
up? You know?
I hope you look just like.
I guess that is a positive thing for it, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
see,
dude,
it's
yeah.
worked out for you.
It's been great. Yeah.
Keep
So
it coming.
before we took a break, you were kind of telling us a little bit about the business and whenever you moved here. But I was going to ask you what I didn't want to ask before because we didn't have enough time. But you said you moved to Nashville. I'm assuming that was for music with your band.
No, I just moved to Nashville because my band was based in North Carolina, and right like in Greensboro.
Dude, I grew up right by Greensboro.
Did you really?
Pilot Mountain, North Carolina.
Okay, dude. So our guitar player, his family lived in Ramseur.
Ramseur.
Don't know where it is.
There's a ton of small towns.
Yeah,
up that
small
way.
town. They had a horse barn out there, and we would practice inside the barn.
Sweet. So
That's
you know
like-
where Pilot Mountain is.
Yeah, and I mean,
Well, it's just north of it. You go like Greensboro, Winston, and right above. Winston.
Oh, okay. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
So it's
then I
up by the
would.
line. So
Yeah.
Mayberry, you know the Andy
Yeah.
Griffith show. That's where I'm from.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I was like, all right, I want to move. You know, move to Nashville. So I bought this little Toyota pickup truck, and I threw a futon mattress in the back with my duffel bag. And I had a buddy who was on my same record label, and he was like, "Hey, dude, I'm moving to Nashville," and we were doing this summer tour together. And he's like, "Do you want to move out here with me?" And I was like, "Absolutely, let's go." And so I just drove out one day and had to pay $300 a month for this 2-bedroom apartment over off West End, 31st.
I mean, hell, that's a pretty nice deal.
Dude, it was sick. You know, it was awesome. But yeah, I just kind of like that was when like my band would kind of took a hiatus for a little bit. You know, we had toured for like, man, I don't know, 3 years, just full, not like no breaks, just always gone. If I was home, I'd be home for like a week.
Well, it's harder to do, especially as you progress in life, because I know with my boy, like, you know, these guys got family obligations and stuff too. So you can't just like up and leave your family to tour because you got to work a job to support them too, you know? So it just gets crazier over time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it was insane. It was awesome. I love it. I mean, I'm still here. I still love Nashville.
I bet you just went crazy, man. I bet it was some wild times on tour.
Yeah, I saw some wild shit. Yeah,
I can only
cool.
imagine.
Yeah, it was cool.
Randomly throw out anything that comes to mind. Crazy story. Just first thing on that comes up.
Yeah, I beat the shit out of this dude one time in a bathroom in Orlando.
Oh yeah.
We were pulling into this mall, and this dude was just like railing on this guy at a bus stop, and I was like, "Oh fuck that!" And I like just swung open the side doors. They weren't parked yet. I was like, hey, get back here, motherfucker. I'm
Wait,
like,
he was doing what?
He was just beating the crap out of this like homeless guy.
Oh, that's just for the fuck of it?
I have no idea, but he was, I mean, maybe the homeless guy did something. I don't know, but I was like, this is wrong, you know? And I like chased this dude through this mall and like went into the bathroom and I followed him in there. I was like, turn around. Hey, wailing on this dude in this bathroom.
Damn, that's like almost not even tour related.
Oh, I was on tour.
Yeah, exactly.
But I broke my hand. I got a boxing fracture. That's why this knuckle's like gone because I broke this bone right here. And so I like did the deed and then like was like walking through the mall and I was like, oh, like let my hair down. There was like blood all over my shirt, you know. And I'm like trying and like be like, oh, there's cops or security are running all around the mall. And I went to the van.
They don't even notice you?
No, because I went into a store. I'm like looking at stuff, you know, like, all right. And like trying to make my way back to the van. I'm like crouching between cars and stuff like that. Like in the parking lot, there's like securities driving everywhere. And I get to the van. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't have my van key. I only had a trailer key. So I opened the trailer and just jumped in and I was sitting there like, and then once the adrenaline wears off, I'm like, oh, my hand really hurts. Then I'm like, oh, I can't close my fist, you know, because my bone is broken. Damn. And my tour manager the side door just rips open on the trailer. He's like, what did you do?
Did you play? Did you play an instrument or?
I was lead singer.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn. I was about to say. I bet you were like.
Oh yeah, no, I was lead singer. I didn't really have a real job, you know. I just had to.
So your hand can be fucked. You're
yeah,
just
it can be fucked.
My voice is good.
Yeah. So we leave, go to the venue, load in, and then like one of the dudes I was on tour with, his girlfriend lived in the little town we're playing, right? And he's like, hey, my girlfriend's gonna drive you to this clinic. I was like, oh, thank God. So I go to the clinic and or this ER, and they're like, we'll be back later and pick you up before you're set, you know? And, excuse me. I'm like, great, sounds good. I get a cast put on my hand, and the whole time they're like, so how'd you break your hand? And I was like, oh, I fell downstairs. They're like,
no, you did not.
Really? Because it looks like you punched something and your hand broke. And I was like, yeah, that's wild, you know? And I wouldn't, and like the nurse got really upset. And then like this like other nurse guy came in, he had like camouflage, like, you know, like nurse outfit. And he's like, hey brother, what's going on? I was like, what? I ain't telling you either, Bubba. Like, y'all can kiss my ass. You know?
Puts his arm around you. He's like,
hey man, let's talk, you know?
Man.
And I was
you
like,
can tell me.
Is it really even their business?
I don't know. I think they just wanted to, like, they were trying to figure out what was going on, you know? And he's like, so how's the other guy look? And I go, well, the other guy's a set of stairs and it looks fine. And he was like, okay, man, I'm not going to ask anymore, you know? So they gave me a cast and I left. And then I had that cast on for like 2 months and I was still on tour, right? I had to get my hand set in Albuquerque. Because that's like where my family was from, you know? So I had to call my dad. I was like, hey, dude, am I still on your health insurance? And he's like, yeah, what's happening? I'm like, well, I broke my hand. He's like, all right,
stairs, dude. Stairs jumped right out.
I know, yeah. I told my dad what happened. He's like, hey, you shouldn't be getting in fights on tour, you know? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm realizing that now, you know? So I had to wait like a week, dude, till we got from Florida to Albuquerque. And then I had to go get my hand reset. So they like put my hand in this thing and like pulled it. And the dude was like, crack. I was like, oh, and they put it in a cast, and I wore a cast for like a month and a half, and I was like, screw this. And I was cruising my buddy's car.
Oh no, we see where this is going.
We were in Maryland, and he had this like little like hatch, you know, little like fold-in saw, you know, and I was like, yep, and I just started cutting my cast off, throwing like pieces of my cast out the window. So I probably needed like another like 3 weeks in this cast.
Like, this thing is good.
Oh, dude, it's funny because if you like see pictures of me during that time, like my hand, I'm singing, but my hands, like I'm holding my hand like really close to my body because I was afraid of it getting hurt. And then it just eventually just kind of came back, and that was it. Good
to go.
That's honestly like the wildest thing.
That actually
that's a hell of a story.
That definitely did take a turn or two I was not expecting.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, of course, there's all the partying and all that stuff, but that's what tours do.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done hard drugs. It was just not my thing, right? Like I get drunk. You know, I used to get drunk, party, and have a great time. But yeah, I was never like, you know. But I walked in like I won't say what band it was, but I was working on a tour in between one of our tours, and I used to go on this bus and steal beer and cigarettes from this bus, right? This headlining band. And I walk in, and this dude's like, hey, who's in here? I heard it from like the back, you know. I was like, oh, hey, it's Gage. I'm just stealing some cigarettes and some beer. He's like, hey, come back here, man. And I walk back, and there's this chick laid over his lap, and he's got a mound of Coke on her butt crack. And he was like, hey, man, you want some of this? And I was like, and in my brain, I was like, I'm at a total crossroads here at my life. Like, I could do Coke, and I'll probably be like, give me a job because I want to work with you guys forever. Or I could be like, no, I'm good, and then go this other. And I took the latter of the two, you know, because I was like, that's going to be trouble for me.
Because it could just be a wild story.
Yeah.
Or it could just totally turn things in another direction.
And I know a lot of dudes, man, who did the first part, right? Like, they went crazy, and it's like, what are you doing now? It's like, they're living with their parents still, man. You know.
I tell you what, man. I've been there with the hard stuff before.
Yeah.
And it's a road because it's like, oh yeah, I'll do this one time.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, a couple times a week. Okay, you're going out handful of times a week doing the same thing over and over again. Then you have no money. Then you're fucking And it's just a vicious cycle, man.
Yeah.
And then fortunately, I've been able to like recognize and reflect and be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And got myself out of that way. But, you know, not that a lot of people don't have that. They just get trapped in that world, man. And that's where it gets bad.
Yeah. Yeah. They'd be around bull riding a lot too. You know, dudes
I can imagine.
Be like,
you just all amped up.
Rosin up the rope, do a little bump real quick, go jump on a.
I mean, it makes sense.
As if the adrenaline from that isn't enough. You know?
Yeah. You know, you're like, all right, man, like crazy. You know, I mean, I really didn't start like smoking pot till like my mid-20s. You know, I don't really smoke pot. You know, I like to eat it. I like an edible. Yeah. You know, help me fall asleep a little bit every once in a while. But yeah, it's never been.
Yeah, I'll smoke every once in a while, but it gets my anxiety up. So I'm just like, I get all in my head and shit. I'm like overthinking things.
Oh, really?
I'm like, dude, you're a fucking piece of shit, Joe. I'm like, for something that's not even relevant. And I'm like, oh my God, what are they thinking about me right now? Like, yeah, I can't do it too often. We've been on the podcast, and I'm just like, I think we've done it a couple times before because guests are like, hey, you want to smoke before? I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of it. And I don't know. I'm just like, at first, I'm like really overthinking things. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to talk. You know? Like it's all jacked up. Then we're just chilling. But yeah, man, that's good, dude. It's good you chose that path. You probably chose the right way.
I'd say I probably did.
Life comes down to choices, man.
That's true. It really does.
And it's just like one thing or the other. Do you want to fuck up, or do you want to go the right way, or do you want to go for your dreams, or do you want to just settle, or do you want to go this and that? I mean, it all comes down to just one simple thing.
Dude, you know, the last tour I was on was one of my favorite bands I grew up listening to, right? It was like the best tour ever. We were playing this fest in Spokane, Washington, and we're watching, like, Every Time I Die is playing, right? Playing this festival with them. It was awesome. And I'm standing there, and it's like this beautiful night in Spokane, right? It's like one of that's like, I can't believe we're on this tour. Like, this is so sick. Our new record had just come out, you know, it's great. And the guitar player of this band is like, hey, man, you like white girl? And I was like married, you know, before, and I was like, yeah, I like white girls, yeah. he's like, I mean, you like white girl? I'm like, hey, dude, white girls, black girls, I like them all. You know?
Like girls,
I
man.
like girls, brother. And he's like, motherfucker, do you want cocaine? And I was like, oh, no, I'm good. He's like, you're not fucking rock and roll. And I just walked off, and I was like,
really?
Oh, wait, come back, and I'll do it. You know, like, I want you to like me.
I am rock and roll.
I'm so rock and roll, dude. Like, come on, you know. But these dudes are out, like, in Arizona. We played Arizona. They're like, hey, man, tonight we got peyote. We're going to go to the desert. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, no. I like the Eagles, but like, no, you know, I don't want to do that.
I mean, maybe once.
You know, but yeah, man, I it was just never my thing. You know, that was just never really me. I've never had an interest in it.
That's probably for the best, dude. Yeah. Because it like takes your soul.
I'm sure it does.
I met a very famous, very well known. Pretty much, if you could think of anybody that's like the epitome of drug, sex, rock and roll, who do you think it would be? He's from England.
Mick Jagger.
No, he died, several years ago.
I don't know.
Wore a hat. He wore a crazy hat. It was flat on top.
I can't think of
He
it.
had stuff on his face. He had like mole. I don't know if they're moles or what.
Stuff on his face.
Lemmy Kilmister.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lemmy. Oh,
So
dude.
if
Yeah,
y'all don't know,
Motorhead.
the
Yeah.
band
Okay.
Motorhead.
Duh. Yeah. Sorry. I'm like, ooh, I sat in his chair at the Rainbow Room my last tour.
Sweet,
It was
man.
sick. Yeah.
I saw them play at a festival in Atlanta when I was in the military. My uncle that lived in Florida, he was a roadie for Ozzy at one point, right?
Cool.
So like he had a lot of connections in that world. And so we got backstage and I got to fucking meet Lemmy. And it was like, don't get me wrong, I got to meet Lemmy. And like, I don't really put people on pedestals. I never have, but getting to meet Lemmy was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, and because he's a fucking legend and he's not around anymore.
Sure.
And that guy, like, I think he lived to like 78 or something. I mean, he did hard drugs and had sex and all that stuff until the day he died. Like,
yeah, dude.
He's a very rare breed. I don't know how he did it. When I met him, I'm pretty sure he had just used because he was like 10 minutes late to the thing, and he was just like, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm Joe, by the way. But then it's crazy.
Joe, yeah, right on. See you later, mate. You know.
It's like he was looking right through me. His eyes were all like this, and then I got to stand on stage while they played.
Oh, sick.
And like Lemmy's just on his bass doing the vocals. It's just like boom, like didn't miss a beat. It's like. Fuck,
Yeah.
he's
You get to the
1,000
point
fucking
where
times.
like you're so used to playing like that, you probably can't even play sober.
Dude, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's the thing, dude. His whole life, like, he was a user of some pretty hard stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, his
Yeah.
entire life. And the fact that he made it that far says a lot about him. But,
Yeah.
dude, it was just crazy experience. But, yeah, I don't know.
Have you ever been to the Rainbow Room in LA?
I have not.
Okay, so
I've never been to L.A. except to stop there to get on a cruise.
yeah, okay,
But
awesome.
that's it. Yeah.
Well, on my last tour, we played the Whiskey, right, which was awesome. in itself.
Those places are famous.
Yeah. So we're on the Strip, and like it's like the Whiskey, and there's like the Rainbow Rooms, like just like 30 feet away.
Yeah.
And so I go, of course, after the show, we're gonna go hang at the Rainbow Room all night. Like, why would we not? You know. So we're there, and there's like the center of this room. There's this woman who's like the bartender, whatever, you know, she's old, man. She's been there. She's got pictures with like it's a picture of her and Lemmy when he's like young, and I'm sure they like hooked up, you know. She's like, it's all these rocker dudes, you know. And man, she was so fucking mean. Like she was nice to me because I'm a respectful ass dude, you know, I'm a cowboy, right? Like I'm saying ma'am and shit. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just take a beer and slice of pizza, you know. My buddy walks over. He's like, "Hey, baby, give me a martini." And like they both have these like gravel voices, and she's like, "I'm not your fucking baby," you know. Like I was like, "Oh, I should not be here right now. Like, I do not want to be in the middle of this," you know. But that was like,
Your boys made you uncomfortable.
no, dude, yeah, it was so
Like, damn
bad,
it, guys.
And it was the lead singer of the band that we were on tour with, right? And that dude is a rock star. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he just walks around, rolls a spliff, dude, like just not a care in the world, right? He's like, I'm a rocker. Like,
It's
that's
wild.
it.
Once they actually like claim that title, they just become like that.
Dude, yes, 100%.
It's wild.
It's nuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting world. Interesting world.
Something you said made me think of you got something good?
Oh no, you go for it.
I was just gonna say, you mentioned earlier about like the hats with the Yellowstone thing, and like people, like he was talking about how like you're actually like live that life, but like you know, looking at you wouldn't necessarily think it or whatnot. But coming from that life and now being in Nashville, tell me like, I guess on the back of that, it's like you mentioned the word cowboy. That's why I'm thinking of this. It's like everybody's walking around like
Dude, Nashville's got a lot of cowboys.
Yeah, Nashville has a lot of cowboys. But like, do you have an opinion on that considering your background at all?
No.
Gotcha.
No, it's just not anything I think about. I think it's cool that we live in a place where you can dress up as a cowboy one day, and then the next day you're like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna work in IT. It's like, cool, man. Like, do it. If you know, wearing cow boots and a cowboy hat, tucked in pearl snap, that makes you happy.
Yeah.
Right on, dude.
Like that's at the end of the day, yeah. And you know, I'm joking about the show thing, but at the end of the day, if like from that perspective, it's just if that boosts your confidence and you feel fucking good, then do your thing.
Love it.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
a cool perspective
If that's,
to have.
if that's a vibe you enjoy, then fuck it, man. I mean, it's not my thing. I'm not going to try to dress like a cowboy. I don't know. I might get one of your hats one day.
Get you set up.
Yeah, and but
pink cowboy hat with spikes.
ooh, gotta have the studs
Gotta have
on
the
it,
studs,
baby. It's the
dude.
only way. But you know, yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like at the end of the day, those people are out walking around. They feel good in their shit.
Yeah.
They're happy.
Yeah.
Like who cares?
I
That's a
don't.
good that's a good-
I don't.
It was just
Yeah.
like, you know, coming from the MC world, you know, if people dress like a biker,
and
they don't ride, it's like they're not a fucking real biker, and it's like, well, man, they just
that's where I was coming from.
They just like that, you know, like, dude, what is wrong with it?
I'm like, I love motorcycles. I used to like ride dirt bikes when I was younger. I don't know how to ride a motorcycle, but it's like I got some badass Harley Davidson t-shirts, you know, and I look at bikes all the time. You know, like my wife and I was like, hey, look at this. Look at this one. Look at this one. Look at this one. You know?
And why don't you get one?
Yeah, I need to. It's on the list, dude. It's on I need to get my license is what I need to do, because I'm like, I'll die.
Yeah. You know? I mean, it's you know, it's a chance. Trust me.
Yeah,
I would know.
Yeah, you know, dude. Yeah,
I will. Yeah, I mean, I almost got another bike. I was this close. I almost ordered one the next day. And
do you not have a bike right now?
No, honestly. So obviously, I told you I got totally fucked, and I'm very close with my family. And I had a point to where I had a friend, she's at a dealership in Memphis, and I was like, man, I want a brand new fucking Road Glide, decked out, matte black, like best speakers on it. I'm going bagger. It's going to be the sweetest thing. I'm riding it all over the country. And man, and she was like, send me this much and we'll get it ordered for you. You know, I was going to get custom ordered. And man, I slept on it. And I went to bed that night just thinking about my family. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I just remember seeing my mom. And I was like, I couldn't do that shit to her ever again. Like, this doesn't bring me that much joy to put her through like constant worry all the time. Yeah. And like, since then I found other sketchy things to get into, but I haven't like almost died doing any of them. So it worked out. Yeah. But, you know, that's the thing, is just like, I'm happy. Yeah. I love driving my big truck, and I have so much joy through so many other things.
Love driving a truck,
like,
dude.
Don't get me wrong. And rarely am I riding, I'm like, fuck, I need a bike. Like, I'll be on like a road trip and I'll see a dude just cruising by himself with some bags, because I used to do some long hauls. I'd ride out to Virginia, you know, I'd just be like lean back with my apes, just cruising. And, you know, I'd be like, damn, like, that looks fun. You know, but it's not something like I've got to do. And so I just was like, you know what, I'm going to put that behind me. Yeah. You know, now having my experience and now having a family of my own. Of course. It's just like, definitely not. You know, like, I'll still take risks elsewhere, but like that. Yeah. I mean, will I get lucky that lucky again? I don't know, because that was, you know, that was pretty damn fortunate. So, but to anybody that wants to ride, I'm never going to tell them no. If they ask me my experience, I'm going to tell them my experience, but I'm not going to be like, you shouldn't ride, it's dangerous out there. Like, most of my friends fucking ride, and I love it for them. Yeah. And they're like, hey, you want to take my bike for a spin? I'm like, hell yeah. I get on it, I rip it. Yeah. You know, it's like I never stopped riding, and then I give it right back, you know, but that's, so if you want to get one, dude, go for it, bro. Yeah.
I don't know. I love my truck, dude. But I'm like, you know, there's like those goals, right? That list of goals that you have, right? And like right now I'm like, okay, I got my truck. I really want like a 72 fastback Mustang. Like,
that'd be cool.
I love stuff, you know, or like an old Bronco or like an old Blazer.
Something like that.
I'm more, I feel like I'm more keen on stuff like that, you know, where I'm like, hey, I want this. You know what I mean?
I'm sure one day it'll come to you and you just get that thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get that thing you want.
Absolutely, man. You know? Yeah, who knows? You know? But dude, I love looking at, like, we went to, my wife and I went to this, I can't remember what it's called, like some road show. It's a bunch of folks out in East Nashville, right? They had all their motorcycles and stuff. This is a bunch of like sporties and, you know, a bunch of like Frankenstein bikes, really. You know what I mean? Like, you'd know what they're like, panheads and all that shit, right? Of course. I love going to that and looking at bikes, right? Because I'm really into like art, like like how that's painted, you know, like that kind of stuff. I have a friend in Canada. I want to say his company's called Frontier. It's like Frontier Studio or something like that, right? He paints motorcycle helmets, dude, and paints bikes, and it's just
insane.
It's insane. It's like all the crazy, like the glitter, right? And there's like the design underneath the design and
pinstripes.
Oh yeah. And he painted me a helmet, which is like one of the coolest things I own. And on the one side it says "already dead." On the other side it has a tiger wearing a cowboy hat with a cigarette in its mouth, you know? And I'm like, dude, yes, this is sick. You know?
That is pretty dope. That's sick.
But I mean, I love, because I draw a lot of inspiration from stuff like that for hat making.
You just ever wear that helmet out, like in public?
I should. I need to probably wear a helmet at all times.
So you know, you should have just worn it on the podcast.
Like, you're like, it's a piece of art.
It's a me thing. Don't worry about it. You know,
you should have just had him wearing it today on the podcast, just sitting there in the helmet.
He just lifts it up to say, "What?"
Yeah. My son puts on and runs on the house. I'm like, buddy, you might need to wear that outside. You know.
Oh yeah, that's funny, man. And speaking of, and you know, circling back around, you know, hey, if you got your style, do your thing.
Yes.
Fuck what people think.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I do want to say that.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
At the end of the day, man, I think the truest form of freedom, right, is to not give a shit about what anybody thinks.
Self-expression. Dude, I walk around in silkies and jorts that are ripped and like freaking, I got a weird little style, but I just do my thing.
Yeah, dude.
I feel good.
It's cool.
But, yeah.
You know, and what you're into is what you're into. And if you're into a bunch of different shit, that's cool too, man.
Yeah.
You know,
freedom's not like, there's a big difference because you get a lot of people that say they don't give a shit what people think, but they got a lot of skeletons in the closet that they don't want out there. They don't want people knowing who they really are.
Yeah.
You know, but actually living it, you can tell those people that actually like don't care.
Yeah. Or it's like, I don't care what people think, but I'm going to be on my phone making sure that everyone has liked what I just posted or whatever. Right. Or like, is the lighting good for my picture? And
exactly.
It's just like, all right.
I've said it a million times. I'm like, dude, good luck trying to find shit about me because if you listen to all the podcasts, I've probably put every bit of it out there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And you know, because being your true authentic self is one of the most powerful things that you could ever do. And it opens so many doors by doing so. But I think a lot of people hold that back. So let it out, people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, it's all good.
Hell yeah.
It's all good.
I do want to ask, so you moved to Nashville. So now you're married with 2 kids.
2 kids, yep.
When did you meet your wife?
7 years ago.
7 years
Almost
ago.
7 years
That would
ago.
be like, math words.
I don't know.
2016.
2016.
There
yeah,
we
it was
go.
like 2016.
I forgot we had a scientist on the panel.
It'd be actually like around, is it 7 years ago? Almost 7 years. It'd probably be 6 actually. It's like 2017. Yeah. Yeah, almost 7 years ago, something like that. Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah, and then we've been married for like 2 months. A month? 2 months? Yeah, 2 months.
So
yeah.
I met then. Were you still doing? Oh, so y'all just been married for 2 months. Oh, congrats, man.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, we went and eloped. Yeah, it was awesome.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah.
So y'all met then.
How did you meet?
Were you still in music or what was going on?
No, I mean, yeah, it was like right after that last tour I had done. Yeah, we met like right after that, and I was just in this like really terrible spot. I'd just like gone through this divorce, like not even officially divorced yet, just like separated. You know what I mean?
From a relationship prior to that?
Yeah,
okay.
From my marriage before that. Yeah.
Oh, so you were married?
Oh yeah, I was married. Yeah. Yeah, we started hanging out, and then, dude, like a few months in, like she got pregnant with our daughter. We're like, oh my god, you know. So our life has just been absolutely insane.
But you were pretty like you were all in when you first met her.
I'm all in still, brother. Yeah,
well, obviously, yeah. So, so the daughter coming wasn't an issue. It was just like obviously you said she was a surprise.
Yeah, but yeah, both of our kids were.
But I'm pretty sure you were stoked then at that point. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm gonna be a daddy.
Yeah. No one has probably pushed me harder than my wife or called me out on my bullshit more than my wife.
Yeah.
And that took a lot of like getting used to, you know, where I was like, what? You know what I mean?
Who do you think you are?
Yeah, you know.
Talking to me like that.
Yeah, and she's just like, well, I think you're full of shit. And I was like, oh, okay. You know? So yeah, man, it's yeah, she's my best friend, and she's absolutely awesome. You know, she has given up on a lot of her dreams so I could do mine. And that says a lot about a person, you know, for me to be like, hey, I know we just had a kid. I just quit my job, but I'm going to start a hat company. And she's like, cool, dude, do it. You know,
sweet.
Like, go for it. Make it work, you know? And, yeah, I haven't always been like a good partner and a good dad. I think I took my family for granted a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And I had an ego like the size of the moon. And it was like very detrimental to me and my family. And then to be able to like turn it around, you know, and work on myself. And
do you want to elaborate on that a little more? Just to.
Yeah, dude, I was just a complete like piece of shit, right? Like I'd just be like talking to like this other woman and stuff like that. Like, and she had just had our son and like was going through thyroid cancer. And I was just completely checked out. Fuck. Like totally checked out, dude. Just the world's biggest piece of shit.
Just, you know? Out of nowhere pretty much, or just
yeah, you know, just like, all right, well, this isn't really working, this isn't fun anymore, you know.
Yeah, I think the responsibilities like start to get pretty heavy, and then you just kind of but because of that you just become more detached.
Yeah, then you isolate yourself, right?
Yeah, and then other things can distract you from like what the true value is.
Yeah, and work became an escape, right? which is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, I tell you what, man. Luke, out of like everybody, he has a better head on his shoulders than anybody I've ever met at his age. When I was 21, I was in the military.
Me at his age, jerk.
I was a degenerate at 21.
Did I?
Yeah. I think so.
Dude, Logan, I don't know. I always forget.
I was probably 22, 23, but
See, so there.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking with you.
No, but like Luke, man, Luke impresses me. I talk you up, man, but you're a good dude, and he's just like fucking, I don't know. He's like, you had said something. He's like, I'm not really focused on girls. They just bring too much stress, you know? And he's like, and I'm like, dude.
Your
like,
boy's focused on his gains, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
He makes me look like a little boy.
He's doing jujitsu and shit.
Hell
like,
yeah.
And I'm like, fucking, hey, man, like when I was 21, I was in the military. I was like, girls, where? Like, you know what I'm saying? Dude, it was great. And I was just drinking constantly.
Got girls in an M4. What else do you want?
Yeah, right? It was ridiculous, man. So, yeah, it's cool.
Jumping back in where you were at. Sorry, sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
So you were saying, you know, we're talking about like, you said work was an escape.
Yes. Yeah, dude. So, I mean, instead of like staying home and talking through shit and handling my shit and, you know, being vulnerable, I'd be like, well, I can't. I got to go to work. I got a ton of hats on order right now. You know, and then it's like, all right, cool. Now I'm sleeping at my shop. You know, like. And
work can take, it can take its toll, man. I mean, I've not necessarily fallen into that with here, but also I went through hell to like lead me to Lydia and, you know, a little bit older too, because I didn't meet her till like, you know, last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I could work does become an excuse just to it can become that. Like I didn't realize till after the vacation how much like I have been absent.
Yeah.
Not necessarily absent like I'm present, but like mentally absent. Like, dude, just it's crazy. I don't know. After vacation, I was like, dude, I feel so much more connected to my daughter. Like we're closer. And I know it's silly saying she's 3 months old.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean closer? But like I genuinely feel closer to my daughter. It's wild.
Yeah, dude. So like to be able to you know, take a step back and kind of reevaluate, you know, my life. And it's like I don't have it all figured out, dude. Like I'm still learning to be like more, you know, communicate better and be more open about these things, you know.
You're never gonna have it fully figured out.
I don't think so, dude. I think it's always just a journey, you know, right? Like that's part of it. But yeah, so I've been doing like a lot of work, you know, on myself, you know what I mean, or try to at least.
Yeah,
you know? Man. And she has too, which is awesome. You know what I mean? It's like if one person's doing it, it's not going to work. And that was the issue I think for a long time was like, she's like, well, hey, dude, you can stay here where you are. I'm not going to live here. I'm not going to live in this place anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, she inspires me every day, dude. She's fucking awesome.
And there was obviously a turning point to where you're like, wait, I need to get my shit together.
Oh yeah.
I need to be a better man. Here.
Yeah. I need to be a man.
Yeah.
Right.
I need to be a man.
I need to be a man. Right. I can't be like this like little boy who's obsessed with his hat company, you know, and be like, well, I make hats for Post Malone. I'm a big deal, you know? And it's like, that's cool because when I'm 60, you know what I mean? And my daughter's 30 and we have no relationship. It's like, well, who gives a shit about
Post Malone's
hat?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
like,
you made his hat like...
I made him a hat.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, I made him a hat and like this hat box, and it was awesome, right?
So your stuff's like pretty broadly recognized.
A little bit, yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel really fortunate that I've like, I mean, dude, I literally I make a living making hats, you know, and hanging out with cool people, and then coming to do cool shit like this. You know, it's exciting.
One day you're gonna be like, dude. That fucking crazy podcast. Like, I made him a hat.
That's right. I made Joe a hat. It was fucking sick.
I made Logan a hat. And they got like twin row hats they wear on the podcast.
Hell yeah.
I'm wearing them all the time.
Hello, dude.
But that's cool, man. So now you found that balance. You know, obviously you're progressing with your work and everything that you do.
Yeah.
You found that balance as far as like also working on yourself.
Yeah.
Which that's a key too, right? Like you can't just focus on work and your family. You need to focus on you as well.
Yeah.
So you've been started working out.
Yeah, dude.
Which is mass. Like, I always try to, I always say that that is like such a important. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at in your life.
Yeah.
If you just take a step for like that self progression, it can teach you so much about yourself, and it can also take a lot off your plate too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because one, you learn patience, you learn discipline, you learn all these things that maybe you never really had otherwise, right? But you also learn to trust the process and like, you know, push yourself towards something else, and it becomes meditative and you know, like,
well, dude, I was having like crippling anxiety attacks. Like I'd be sitting in my office and just like, and like I couldn't breathe. Like I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna fucking die. I think I'm dying. Like, dude, I was having like 2 a week, which is not healthy at all. It was so bad, like so bad. But it's like, all right, we got bills and the hat company and so-and-so's hat and I'm 10 weeks out on a hat right now, and oh my God, you know, and you just think about it and you're like, so you're getting just blasted in the face with a water hose of anxiety, right? And you're like, I think I'm gonna die. I think I'm gonna fall over and die right now. And then when I started strength training, dude, I just noticed that like those things were becoming less and less and less and less, right? And so I'm very early on, right, in training. I'm only like 4 months in, but I don't know if, I mean, I think I've had like 1 a month since I've started, you know what I mean? Like maybe in the past 2 months I've had like 1 or 2, 1 a month or something. But now it's just this thing where I'm like, oh, I love this. What else can I get into now? Right? Like, oh, jiu-jitsu looks cool. And all my buddies, you know, we have a lot of the same peers, right? Like we know a lot of the same people, and it's like they roll, and it's like, well, all those dudes can strangle me. Why can't I strangle them, right? Like I want to.
Now you want to step it up and try to get into that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's exciting, and it's, I think, you know, as you own your own business and stuff, right? You have to take that vacation, right?
Oh, without doubt.
And it may be a thing where it's like, okay, well, I have to get 100 things done before we leave, and we leave next week, right? And you're trying to get it going.
I was freaking out for a vacation,
dude.
I was like, I got too much to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're like, oh my God, you know. But you, like you said, you have to make time for yourself. Yeah. Because you have to value yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people kind of die on a hill of like, well, I don't get to have fun because everyone relies on me, right? I pay for all the bills and all this stuff, and it's just like, yeah, man, that's the entry fee for that shit. That's the entry fee for a family.
Yeah.
Is like being in charge of that stuff. You
know?
And I'm fucking terrible at that shit, dude. Like calling insurance, right? Like doing all this stuff, and like my wife has to do it. She's just like, hey, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and I'm like, all right, you're right. I'm gonna like try to figure this
making little calls and stuff.
Yeah,
like, oh, dude.
I'm awful.
I hate doing stuff like that.
I can't handle it.
It's crap, man.
It sucks,
dude. I feel you there, though, man. It's just like, because you can you're doing your best at your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, all right, I'm doing the best I can. I had to kind of reflect on that recently. And it's brought me a lot of peace, because, like, you know, you get the overhead, you got all the things. It's like, how the fuck am I going to make it to the next month? Okay, how am I going to make it to the next 3 months, you know? And you start thinking about those things, and it's crazy. I told Lydia, I was like, you know, I was going through my shit that I did before I met her. And I was like, you know, I always had it within me, but you brought out the best in me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm grateful as fuck for you, because you did save me. Like,
yeah,
I was always this man, but like you unleashed that. Like, I met you, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be the most honorable man I can. I'm going to be the best I can.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, you know, here I am, and I got the business, and it's just like, you know, last year I was having those kind of like anxiety moments, man. And it was really just me here, other than with him recording or like whatever few clients I had. I was just like, how am I going to fucking do this, man?
Yeah.
Now I got a daughter on the way. Like, oh my God. And I'd just be freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And it just was crippling, man. And then, you know, moving forward, things started to progress. You know, I moved those guys in. We're getting more podcasts out. I picked up a ton more clients, you know.
Yeah.
Still doesn't take so much off the plate. That just means there's more to do, but you see this process working out. Maybe not in the time you may had set, but I remember Andy Frisell talking about, hey, as the time you think it's going to take, times 3 or 4 of that. That's what it's going to take. And I was like, damn, and it's becoming like pretty true, but it's happening.
Yeah. And
the progress is there. And, you know, but I was still having those like moments of like freaking out. And then my daughter got here. Yeah. And then I'm like, holy shit. Like, dude, my universe just like totally zoomed in.
Yeah, dude.
And I remember I was telling Lydia just the other day, I was like, you know, it's crazy. I was like, it's a lot, man. Like, because I started my apparel company in 2020. I moved here last year, but in like pretty much having like, moving here made it a whole new business. So starting a new business, you know, marriage and having a baby all within 1 year is a pretty fucking heavy load.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, like we're just like, man, we're proud of it though. We're doing this. Yeah. And I look at my daughter and I'm like, You know, I've had less anxiety since she's gotten here because at the end of the day, like with her here, I look at her and I'm like, she's watching everything I do now. Now she's recognizing these things. She's watching everything. And I don't have it. There's no backup plan.
Yeah.
I don't need to make a backup plan because there's no way but forward, you know? And I think that's given me a lot of peace. And I think just recognizing the fact that, like, I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah.
And it's going to fucking work out.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing the best you can, then you have nothing to worry about because I think that's just, like, things are going to play out how they should.
Yes.
Based off of that. If you're slacking, okay, then sit back and recognize, like, I could be better in these areas. But if you're genuinely doing the best you can for yourself, your family, and your business, then, like, things are going to work out. You just got to fucking have that patience and keep grinding, you know?
Dude, yeah. I mean, there's been months where I'm like, I don't know how we're going to pull it together this month. I don't know. Like, we got to sell some hats before, and we got like a week left, or we're not making payroll. We're not making rent, right?
Yeah.
Like, whatever it is, you know? And you freak, and then it's just like, it's like you get creative, right? Like, okay, hey, guess what? We're going to here's a discount code. Hey, we're doing this. Hey, we're doing this, right? And you start thinking and you just kind of start moving and grooving, right? Like with these obstacles that are coming your way. And it just seems to work. Like it always happens. The sales always come through, right? It's whatever. Someone calls, like, I need 6 hats. You're like, oh, thank God. Yeah, right on, you know, or whatever. And I don't know if I'm sure at some point, you know, I'm 4 years in on my business, right? I'm a high school dropout. I don't have a GED. I'm not I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? It just happened. It just fell into my lap that way. And yeah, it can be really, really wild when those things kind of hit.
That's what you got.
Yeah.
Like, your business is what you have.
Yeah. Yeah. And dude, I've been through the ringer with my business. Like I had an investor. I bought him out. I moved out of my old hat shop. I mean, you know, I had a store on the east side of town over in East Nashville, right? I was there for a year and a half. And then my business partner wasn't working out. Awesome dude. I bought him out, right? And then I moved to my garage, dude. I was in my garage for like 5 months. And I was like, all right, well, what do we do now? You know, I'd like let my crew go, like the whole thing. I was like, I just need to recenter myself. I need to revamp myself. I need to like
Be alone
and figure it out. And dude, I just started doing like private events and pop-ups and things like that, right? Stuff I'd just never really done before. I'm like, well, I'm just trying to take a different approach from this and see what happens. And dude, the last 6 months have been incredible because I feel like that was when I really started figuring myself out and finding myself and being alone, right?
Yeah.
And just like, there's no one I can call to be like, hey, can you help me make these hats? You know, it's just all me and trying to, balance that, right?
Yeah, dude.
And then, then you get a phone call and they're like, hey man, do you want to come look at this space in this hotel? I'm like, yeah, I guess. I go look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, what's the money on this? Because I can't afford it. And then they tell you and you're like, I can afford that.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Hey, I'll
Got this shit.
I'll take it, And that's where I'm at now because my new store's, dude, it's downtown inside the Fairlane Hotel, right?
Yeah.
And you just get creative with it. My buddy owns a custom boot company called Bowen Bootwear, right?
Okay.
And I said, hey man, like, let's go in on this. This is awesome, because they approached both of us. We both went and he's like, let's do it. And that's how it worked, and we've been in that new space for 2 months. It's been incredible.
That's sick, dude.
But the craziest part that happened was, I assembled like my team, right? I got like my old apprentice. He moved back from South Carolina and I was like, hey dude, let's go. Like work with me on this. Let's do it. And he's like, all right, I'm in, so I got him back. He's like the 10-year younger version of myself, right? But like has himself figured out at 23, not dumb like I was.
Oh shit, dude. You can't, hell yeah.
Yeah, dude, you're smart, hell yeah.
You're around.
Yeah, it's my boy Chase. He's fantastic. So Dustin and I are like looking at the shop, right? We stepped outside. We opened the next day. We're like, dude, we did it, man. Look at the fruits of our labor. The store looks great. I was so excited. And then I get a phone dings. I look down. It's my attorney. He's like, hey, man, we got a cease and desist. You have until the 14th to change the name of the company or they're going to sue you in federal court. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome.
I made it now.
I made it,
People are suing me.
Yeah. Well, dude, I would say this one thing. Evan Hafer from Black Rifle, I made him a hat, right? And he goes, hey, man, if you're not going to cease and desist, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, that's That's easy for you. You have a $2 billion coffee company, you asshole. You know? But dude, it was one of those things of like, fuck, what am I going to do now? Oh my God. Like I just opened the store. I just got all these hats in here. I had to redo everything. And I'd kind of been going back and forth with this company. They're in California. And we kind of thought like they would look at the company and the PTMO guy, the guy from the trademark office would be like, hey, these are two totally separate things. You guys are good. But because I make T-shirts, this other company makes women's T-shirts. They're like, oh, that's a trademark infringement. So they can sue you if they wanted to.
That's wild.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. And we're like, well, how much do you want? Like, well, how much do you want to give us? And I was like, this amount. And they're like, well, actually, that's wrong because we were thinking $100,000. And I was like, get fucked. I'm out of here. I'll change the name.
Yeah.
And so I've had to do that. I've had to pivot, right? Like, hey, guys, guess what? Fire sale. Everything's going. I got to change the name of my company. And I did that, 2 months ago.
And then you change it.
Changed it 3 horses. Yeah, exactly.
Sweet.
What was it before?
It's called Daisy May Hat Co., which is just like my...
I like that too.
Yeah, I did too. It was cool. It was like my nickname. It was whatever, but like, 3 horses, I'm like, it's better. It sounds beber to me. Yeah, cool. I like it,
Especially for, it fits Nashville and it fits like...
Yeah, absolutely. And I got it from the, I'm sure you know the Pharaoh's horses, that painting of the 3 horses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite paintings of all time. And so I was like...
That's where you took it from.
Yeah, 3 horses.
Sweet. It's weird how just something just pops up and inspires you. You're like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's always cool to hear about the people that put thought into that kind of thing, like their logos and their names and all that kind of stuff, like where the inspiration, where it came from.
Yeah. Well, my wife's a pastry chef, right? So she's sitting there. She's cooking or she's baking, she bakes all this shit and she's like, hey, you need to have a 6-pack. And I'm like, okay, great. She's like, also try this cinnamon roll. And I'm like, fuck, okay, cool. It's like, this isn't working. This is abuse, she's abusive. But I was sitting there and we're throwing names out. I'm at the kitchen table. She's sitting there and we're throwing names out, right? Like, I know, blah, 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 blah. And I was like on my phone looking at this picture of the Pharaoh's horses. And I was like, yes, Pharaoh's horses, Hatco. I don't know how to fucking spell Pharaoh. This is not going to work, but I was like, 1, 2, 3 horses. 3 horses.
You write it down and you're like, F-A-R-O.
Just like draw like a pyramid. You're like, this isn't working. And then my wife was like, that was the first one. She was like, hey, dude, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I just checked it. There wasn't anything. I hit my attorney back. I was like, buy everything right now. 3 Horses Hat Company.
Dude, hell
He's
yeah.
like, you're good to go. I'm like, buy it all, dude. Let's go.
First thing I did when I started RP, got with the trademark attorney.
Yep.
And someone was like, dude, don't worry. Just wait. You don't know how things are going to go. Just wait on it. And I was like, no, I'm not fucking waiting. Like, I'm taking it serious. So I'm going to go ahead. Because, like, you can run into those issues.
Yeah.
It's not things you think about.
Dude, I was 4 years in.
Something happened with you, like, right after you did that, didn't it? Like,
So, no, yeah, what's crazy about it is, man, I'm so fucking glad I did this. And this is a big deal. So, there's a athleisure brand called ASRV.
Okay.
And they make, like, freaking $100 shorts and tank tops and stuff. Real trendy. I mean, it's not my style, but, like, they're they've got really good marketing, success, massive following. Well, they had started putting Relentless Pursuit trademark on their Instagram handle.
Whoa.
And, like, I make an athleisure, and I'm like, well, fuck that. Like, someone sent it to me. And I was like, no, that's my fucking trademark.
Yeah.
Like, that's my name.
Yeah.
And, and of course, like, that's directly competition. Like, and I don't want to be stomped out of that. Like,
no.
They got a big, I don't know what they could do. So I was like, all right, I let, Instagram know. I was like, hey, here's my trademark stuff. Like,
yeah.
And they made them take it down. So they put it the hashtag Relentless Pursuit, assholes. Anyways.
They still do it.
Yeah. Well, they put hashtag Relentless. They can use the hashtag.
Sure.
But anyways, it's my trademark, so whatever. But, I want to be thorough about that. And I'm not trying to get screwed or, like, kicked off of anything because, like, I don't have that following and that. I don't know what could fucking happen. I don't know. I'm new to all it. I don't like legalities. I wish we could just hash shit out. With
you're not a suit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, fuck all that. But what's crazy is I got with my trademark attorney and come to find out, he had said that they applied to trademark that name a month after I applied for it.
No
So, like,
way.
I just, in the nick of time, I was like, I got in there and got it. And I'm like, I'm so fucking glad I just followed my intuition and did things the right way.
And then they fucking posted it with a TM on it anyways, even though they knew they didn't have it as dicks.
Wow. Anyways, hey, I wish
because
him
if
all
he
the
doesn't
success.
say anything,
Yeah.
Yes.
how do you or I know?
Yeah. So I'd be clear about it, but
I own the trademark of a lightning bolt on the side of a hat. right? Like
Really?
I own it. Yeah, because all my hats are branded with the lightning bolt.
I've seen that
on the left side.
I like that.
Me too. I love it. So that's how you know it's mine, right?
dope.
There's a company out of China that's fronting as a hat company from Australia that sells on Amazon for like $50 a hat, and they're stitching that lightning bolt on the side of their hat. So I've had to like file a bunch of complaints.
That's definitely
with Amazon and
what
stuff.
your boy said. If that's not happening, you're not doing it right. That's the what imitation is the best form of flattery.
Yeah.
That still fucks, but you know
It happens a lot in the hat world. The hat world's small, you know?
Yeah.
you have you got like less than 10 minutes, by the way.
Okay.
Cool.
Shit, man. It's like I could just keep talking.
I
about
love it,
everything.
dude. Yeah, having a great time,
That's
man.
the thing about this is like,
Yeah.
we've got that setting, and we,
Yeah.
I don't know. We found that like it's been really unique and special with all the guests. Like we're able to just get in here and like everybody just have like genuine conversation, open up all kinds of different doors. So it's been a lot of fun, man. Is there anything that you find significant about your journey that you would like to share with everyone? Like, I think it's a really cool story, like where you started, man, the things you went through in your childhood.
Yeah.
I mean, and like
big
I never would have
takeaways.
guessed about like, the bull riding and all the cool shit, the metal touring, like really cool story, man. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. I would say this, dude. I think just because my story can be pretty like interlaced with a lot of like violence and trauma, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, your story doesn't have to be like that to be a success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could have a killer life with like amazing parents, and that's fucking cool.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Right? Like that's a beautiful thing. And I think growing up in like, I grew up in like, small church, right? Christian church. It was always like, I did drugs for 20 years and I slept with whores and, and it's like, I went to jail, right? It's all this crazy. And it's like, oh, well, I need that. I need like that kind of story.
Yeah. I need to experience that. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's like, man, really you don't. If you like get along with your parents and stuff, like, or you can communicate, thoroughly or with the people that you love. It's like, dude, that's something to be like really proud of, know? And like, you don't have to go through like really bad shit to have an epic story. You know what I'm saying? Like your adventure doesn't have to look like, you don't have to get in a crazy motorcycle accident, right? Or be a vet, right? Or be able to lift the most or whatever it is, right? It's like, hey man, you can just be you and have your story, and it's just as important as anyone else's. Yeah,
because there's other people out there with a similar story to you, a similar experience that you can help.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. Where it's just like, hey man, my parents were really smart business people and they paid for everything. And it's like, and guess what? Now I'm really good at managing money too. And it's like, yeah, that's incredible. And for some reason we think it's cool to shit on those kinds of people where it's like, hang on, you're upset and you call it daddy's money.
Because their parents set them up. Yeah.
And now that I have kids, it's like, I want to be that guy.
Oh, dude. I want to leave a legacy, right? Like,
yeah. When you would do something like that for your kids, you don't look at it as a bad thing. It's like, I want to set my kids up as good as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could be like me and just like have amazing parents that have like are great examples and go the exact opposite of everything they say to do and fuck up all on your own and learn some lessons there too.
Yeah,
but
dude.
There's so many different ways you can go. That's what I'm getting at is like.
There's not one right way to do it.
No.
Right? Like some folks, you're going to entrepreneurship, right? Like you're doing that. Like I wish I did that at 21, like I was puking on the side of the freeway at 21 on tour,
Well, I mean, even Luke and I, right? He's going to Belmont for entrepreneurship. And I just started a business without going to school.
Yeah.
Two different paths to the same kind of outcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I think that that's a really important thing, from a lot of levels that you just said that, because that's a very, that's a very interesting comment, and I don't think that people say things like that very often. Because, and even we do. I mean, we pride ourselves very much on having people on here that have amazing stories, and a lot of times they're crazy stories, and a lot of times they are trauma filled or chaos filled. But I think that you can get in like. I told you my parents are divorced. So I'm not going to go into this whole thing, but there was a lot of chaos in my whole upbringing, right? And so self-sabotage, right?
Yeah.
What is that? Whenever things are not chaotic, you feel uncomfortable with that because you're so used to living in the chaos. And so even what you're saying would talk to somebody like myself where it's like, look, things are just going good. That's it.
Yeah.
Just hard stop, period. End of sentence. You don't have to live in chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the phrase that came to mind whenever you were talking about that too is, a wise man learns from others' mistakes and a fool learns from his own.
Yeah.
right? So you don't have to go through. If you're wise, you actually learn from it and just don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
And
And then the other thing I was thinking was with you, like, I mean, that's the whole reason why you started your brand. It was like, I'm going to bring these messages to you that I learned through almost dying so that you don't have to almost die to learn them.
yeah, I mean, I say that all the time. I'm like, my goal with this is how do I get people to re-gear their mindset and inspire them to do the best they can in life? No matter, you don't got to be an entrepreneur or start a business, but like, do you want to be the best you can in the gym that you go to? Whatever your goal is, be the best at it, or at least strive for that, work towards it. And but how do I re-gear? How do I help people acquire the mindset I did through almost dying, right? And so that's just kind of the goal there. But, and I'm using that experience to fuel others.
Yeah.
And, I did want to say, on the flip side of everything you said, you don't need some crazy story to be a success, but also you don't need to use that to be the opposite. You don't, just because you have a life riddled with trauma and all kinds of negative experience doesn't mean you got to be a product of your environment.
Yes.
Just because your parents set you up for success and paid for you to go to fucking Harvard doesn't mean you got to be a spoiled, asshole. Like, we had these choices. Like, no matter what your path is, you can be something fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I think one thing that you said that was really profound, dude, was you were like, you had your accident with your motorcycle, right? And you're like, I wasn't going to get another bike, but I chose not to. Right. And it's like, wow, to hear you say that and, just knowing like that culture, right? And it's just like, hey man, live to ride, ride to live, like that whole thing. But you're like, actually, when I take into consideration the people that I love, I don't think they'd be really stoked if I went and got another motorcycle, right? And it's like
no one's telling me not to, that I can't.
Exactly. But you just took, their opinions, right? You took that to heart. Or maybe what they would have
feelings.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, hey man, it's not like you're sacrificing yourself, right? Or whatever, but you're like, hey dude, I love motorcycles, but I think I'm good. I think I'm just stoked on my truck. And it's like, that's really fucking cool, because I think a lot of people would be like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna get another motorcycle.
It's my life. I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah, it's that ego thing, right?
And the thing is like, well, because to me, the value in life, like I find purpose in life by the people that I love. Like the people that I love in my life is what fuels me with purpose.
Yes.
So if I don't consider them in things, then what does that make me? But like I couldn't get through my life without the people like my mother, my woman, Logan, everybody, like the people that I really hold dear. And so I'm going to consider them when I make decisions, know, and I don't think that's fucking me just putting other people above me. I just don't think it's just a selfless way to be. So
you made a decision for whatever it was in your mind that you made it for, whenever you were asked to do coke off of the woman's ass.
Yeah.
And in that moment, like you said, your life could have branched off into a totally different place. So it comes back to choices.
Yeah.
But that's a good way to wrap. We got about a minute and a half. So
cool.
All right, real quick, what's your relentless pursuit?
Dude, I just want to be the best husband and father that I can be.
I love that.
I think that's it for me, dude.
Perfect answer. That's all we need. Love it, dude.
Thank you,
Gage,
guys.
thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, man.
We'll have to make this happen again another day.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to.
We'll get back on here for sure.
Cool.
Thanks again. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Next time.
See ya. It's great, man.
Excellent, boys.
Dude, I loved it.
Dude.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, it's a real pleasure.